Hi, I'm Ian Jones. I'm the Managing Director for Devereux Kelly Associates. Welcome to this latest video blog. We want to share some personal perspectives today on leading through a crisis. I'm delighted to have one of our associates with us today, Euan McMurdo. What's the biggest challenge that you've had to deal with during your time in charge?
I think the biggest event that I was involved in at Royal Mail, and there were many of them, but it's usually a weather events that create the largest challenges because they come, and while the seasoned experts and subject matter experts should know what they're doing, they can sometimes come very quickly. I remember in early 2018, we had some of the worst snow that the United Kingdom has seen for decades. Aircraft were grounded, roads were closed, railways were closed. Some of the cities in the north were cut off, and in fact I myself was trapped at Glasgow Airport, I recall, for the best part of a week during that event. But from there, and with colleagues, we ran a very successful management of that event, and we were in fact probably the only operator in the transport field able to keep going across the country.
So what was the biggest learning that came out of that experience for you?
Well, I think that the rehearsals can help you to a point, but the biggest learning that I had was to make sure that I had at my elbows and supporting me were our seasoned senior operators. The crisis management team that were involved includes a whole bunch of subject matter experts. They were there as well, and turning out to be the only national parcel and letter carrier that were able to maintain operations across the entire country through that period showed that we were resourced and able to deal with the details. But staying calm throughout was absolutely critical, and knowing that you can't do it all yourself. No senior director can manage these things on their own. So being very close to the crisis management team in your business, being very close to your staff representatives, to the unions if they're involved, keeping them fully informed, fully at the table, and very much part of the team, not a group of people receiving instruction, but a group of people who are part of the team supporting the decisions that are to be made. Staff availability. People are going to be off because they have to be off for one reason or another, whether they're ill or whether they're supporting family and friends. And fatigue. So keeping an eye on that, having a subject matter expert, a senior subject matter expert, and colleagues dedicated to looking for that and looking to support people will be important. Looking after people's mental well-being, absolutely critical at this time. Dealing with contractors and suppliers and seeking their support, and also those companies will have capacity issues and people issues. Those who come out the other end in the best shape will be those who involve everybody at the right time.
If you were to summarize, let's say, 3 golden rules for individuals that are in the leadership positions trying to keep the show on the road today, what would those 3 golden rules be?
Well, the first one is to stay calm and to make sure that as a senior leader that one exhibits that calm across the whole organization. To make sure that experienced operators, staff representatives, and subject matter experts are all involved in managing the event, and being prepared to adapt the plan that you may have come up with in the early part of the event. Being able to adapt regularly will get people to the right conclusion. And finally, to communicate and reassure to your business, your organization, and your customers every day, and explain every detail that's possible to explain as clearly as possible.
So calmness, adaptability, and effective communications. When you sort of look at the overwhelming challenges that we as leaders we're faced with today, we tend to lean into our core. By that I mean our sort of character and personal values to find strength and focus on, I guess, what really matters. And in addition, leaders must also look at their organization's core, its communal culture, the values, to inspire resilience, unleash agility, and I guess, encourage employees to thrive and not simply survive. So for you, Euan, why do you believe that understanding the core or having that emotional intelligence is so important for decision makers during times of crisis?
It's really important to understand the culture and the heart of your organization. it's really vital for all leaders at all times. Emotions and angst are heightened at times of crisis, and decision makers should therefore place themselves in the thinking and in the feelings of their staff. Those in a clearly caring and empathetic organisation will have a head start. So connectivity, constant communication with your people, absolutely important. It's all part of emotional intelligence and understanding how the workforce operates.
What role did the trade unions play during times of crisis in your experience?
Well, I think in any big business, the workforce representatives, whether they're part of a trade union or just a staff representative, absolutely critical to be empathetic, to be with them, meaningfully with them, and for them to be with the business, and for the leadership to be recognising that. I always sought to make sure that at Royal Mail, our unions were very much part of the decision-making process rather than the end point of the decision-making process and translating the wishes of the leadership to the business. I think if you've got a relationship with your staff representatives, it means you've got a relationship with your staff and the people on the human side, and it brings both parts of that equilibrium to the right place at the right time.
Can you share some examples of how you've, I guess, developed and applied concepts of emotional and cultural intelligence during your own experience, particularly of crisis management?
I think it certainly helps to have it inbuilt in you, and not just to apply it to crisis management, to apply it all the time. And the people that you deal with will recognise that. Difficult to start from ground zero, but if you're starting from a position of empathy in the first place, it's really important. An example for me is, and it's a repeated example in some cases, at Royal Mail, the busy season, the commercially busy season is at Christmas and around Black Friday. And as the group logistics director, I saw transport volumes increase by 2 or 3 times every year, requiring more professional drivers, more trucks, more trailers, additional resource throughout. If any one of those 3 critical elements was compromised, then it could lead to major problems. And I do recall a year not that long ago where all 3 of those critical items, people, drivers, trucks and trailers, were all in short supply. And that could have created a potential operational crisis. And with my team and our suppliers all being very stretched, my focus was immediately directed on leading the team from within, and always being seen to be in partnership with our suppliers and every human involved, rather than giving instruction and spelling out what they should do, working with the people who were involved, who felt the pressure, who felt the strain, and coming together to the right solution. I think when people are under pressure and they see a leader under pressure, it can create problems. I've always sought to avoid that, but no doubt there'll be times when some of my people have felt that things aren't going well. Is he going to be difficult with us? Is it going to be more demanding than usual? And I think the whole team involved in that particular crisis were much better placed to respond, knowing and feeling that they were supported fully by me and by my most senior leaders in the task. And a good learning from me was that the supply chain who work outside of the business, but a critical part, those supplying labour, drivers, in their case involved those who were building trailers for our trucks, were a bit behind, and knowing that they were supported to do the best that they can in difficult situations made a huge difference to them. The good learning is make sure that everybody remains in the team rather than feeling excluded or put upon. There's no point, no value in that whatsoever.
Any crisis often brings out sort of best and worst instincts, and a blame culture can lead to a fear of mistakes, I guess risk aversion, people putting their heads in the sand, and ultimately inaction. Clearly undermines transparency, it erodes empowerment, stalls innovation, and can indeed stifle learning.
I'd make sure that my whole team know that I own the issue. That I'm responsible and accountable, whatever the team collectively decides to do, and that we're all in it together. And I'd seek to provide real, tangible, visible, appreciative support for everybody involved, and that I will take accountability again for everything that we do. Being very transparent in every communication, show that I've got their backs, and I've got no doubt that they'll be much better placed to make sure that that they take care of my back as the leader. I think if you always acknowledge problems, errors, omissions as they arise, and ask for the team, who are typically the subject matter experts, to help and advise where they can, that's a great place to be in, rather than wanting to be or trying to be seen as the sole decision maker. It's about a team, and it's about a workforce. It's about bringing your staff representatives along, making sure that where unions are involved, that they're absolutely part of that decision making process. Leadership is about being emotionally aware, culturally aware, as we said earlier on. And a great part of it is making sure you bring your team with you, and that the team want you to come with them.
The points that you reinforced there around sort of personal accountability, about transparency of action, the trust and being trusted is really important with your teams. Drawing on your subject matter experts, trusting them to act in an agile and effective manner. And letting them know that you've got their back regardless. One of the things that I learned on the path to leadership many years ago was that culture is very much the shadow of the leader. So I guess, when we look at what's happening in the world today, now is the time to be brave as leaders. Now is the time to start to shape your target culture and plan how you make it better for everyone to be happier and more fulfilled in their future workplace. I guess doing the work they love and making a difference to the world. We do hope that you've enjoyed this latest video blog, and we would appreciate your feedback either via our LinkedIn pages or on our website at www.devereauxkelly.associates.com. Thanks for listening. Take care, stay safe, and lead well.